Hey everybody, it's Dara, and this is the Conversations with a Gender Therapist YouTube channel. I have tried really hard to not have glare on my glasses during this conversation with you, and I have not succeeded in finding the right angle in my office. So I apologize that it might be, I could see it. It's like you see my computer screen in my eyes. So if I talk to you like this, it goes away. Or if I go like this, kind of. So, but let's just keep it natural. I'm just gonna talk to you with glare in my eyes. So I wanted to bring to attention an article that I read in case you haven't seen it. It's been shared a lot on social media, but it came out last week, and it is by Cassie Brighter, and it's called "I Wasn't Annoyed at Your Misgendering Me." And the reason I want to talk about it is because I feel like this is a subject that a lot of people who are trans can connect with, including myself. So I wrote up a little something on Facebook when I shared this article, and so I'm just going to read that to you right now. What I said was, "This article expresses so much of what I've heard verbalized by my clients, social media followers, and YouTube viewers. It also speaks to me personally, what it's like for me when I am addressed as ma'am or lumped in as a lady. It's initially not a mental reaction that I experience, aka annoyance. It is 100% involuntary reaction that is extremely visceral. My face flushes, my heart sinks, my entire body feels sluggish, and I experience a sense of sadness. This happens while I'm purchasing a quick cup of coffee, eating out for a meal with my wife, on the phone with a customer service representative, when a stranger is trying to get my attention, and so forth." I especially like this article because there are tips as to how non-trans persons can work on this and how they can address an accidental misgendering. Visibility and discussion around this topic isn't meant to shame or scare those who are not trans into no longer interacting with us. The hope is to work together on educating our society more around this issue, and yes, that will take time and patience on all parts. So this made me think of a few things. One thing that a lot of people talk about, sorry, there was something on my computer, is, ideally, should we just not use gendered words at all? Sure, that would sure help out a lot. But here's like this other side of the coin that I have thought of, is that I know that for a lot of my trans clients, that if they are gendered properly, then that can do the opposite in terms of how it feels to them. They can feel seen and valid, and it's the whole conversation around passing. And so in and of itself, sometimes being gendered properly because you're called ma'am or you're called sir can feel great, like to my clients. Like I have heard those stories just as many times as I have heard how awful it feels to be misgendered. So I'm not weighing in on that topic. I'm more so just sharing, I can see both the pros and the cons of that. In general, though, I do think there is a consensus that not having as many gendered terms would be nice. And I think it's one of those things that where my biggest piece of advice would be to everybody would be to just pay more attention. Pay attention to the people you're interacting with in society and your coworkers and all of that. Just like, I think that's one of the biggest things, is that a lot of us, we're in a rush, we're in a hurry, and we're distracted. And so it's very easy to just not think about what you're saying and use gendered terms like ma'am or sir, ladies, and not pay attention to who's actually standing in front of you. Like a big frustration is I have a lot of my clients who say, like, I was very clearly, my gender expression was very female, and I just don't understand why this customer service person misgendered me as male. Because they weren't paying attention. It requires really taking a moment just to be present and mindful. And I'm saying I'm guilty of this as well. I don't use gendered terms, so that helps because of that, but I know that I can work on being more like just seeing who's in front of me more often and just taking in that whole person. So, like for instance, for myself, because I'm non-binary, what I would suggest that people do is that if somebody is their gender expression is more androgynous, I would say mine gender expression fits into that category, would be if you usually use gendered terms like ma'am or sir, maybe just don't use it with that person because maybe you're just not sure. So if you're not sure, just don't use those terms. That's really, it's like, I feel like it's a simple thing that can be done, but I know that people who are used to saying those terms, it can take a lot of practice and thought. So I do appreciate it a lot when people do that. So, you know, the biggest point of this article, the reason I wanted to share it is, like I said, not only is it because it connects with myself, but it connects with so many of the people I know who are trans. So I think it's nice just to even read something that you read it and you're like, wow, that feels a lot like my experience with this. That way you don't feel alone. You can feel like there's like this commonality that you have with a lot of other people. And for those who aren't trans, for them to be able to read it and understand what it's like on the other side. And like I said, my advice is for everybody just to slow down a bit, pay more attention, be mindful of who you're speaking to in that moment, because that way you can like take in the fullness of who that person is. And worst comes to worst, just don't use gendered terms. That way you won't mess up accidentally at all. That's all I'm going to really talk about that for right now. I am going to put the link in the notes for this video, so please be sure to check it out and leave any comments below about how maybe you have experienced this, or if you're maybe not trans and you want some more advice about how to not do this, then put that down below and we'll all help you out with that. So thanks for watching. This has been Dara, and yeah, talk to you later.